Personally, I believe that if you teach, preach, and proselytize a belief or ideology, you should be congruent with its principles. You should seek to have your words, your behavior, and your life reflect its ideas and ideals. Throughout this, you remain true to yourself and your values, then you are doing well, and I would find little room to criticize. Unless, of course, you are harming, killing, or subjugating people in a way that was not in defense of self or others. However, it's not uncommon to find those who are hypocritical in their practice and or presentation of their beliefs, and in most cases, it's more unfortunate than it is awful or evil. Beyond that, there are some very odd cases of those who behave in a way that is somewhat directly inverse to their core beliefs and ideals. Even cases where they seem quite the embodiment of that which they denounce, condemn, and denigrate. I find this to be completely horrifying and, honestly, really interesting. I present to you the demonic preacher.
That's good. Well, if you have your Bibles, I'd like for you to turn to the book of Hebrews with me this morning, please. Chapter number 9. Hebrews 9. If you'd like to stand as we open the pages of the infallible book. Hebrews chapter number 9.
He starts off in a pretty normal way. Convincingly normal. But then it begins.
And verse number 27. The book of Hebrews, chapter 9, verse 27, the scripture says, "And as it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this, the judgment." Father, bless your word now. And I pray you'd use me this morning, Heavenly Father, to preach it. In Jesus' name, amen.
The first verse he quotes is eerily morbid, and that was just his opener. Basically, it says all humans get to live one life and experience death, after which God's judgment is dispensed upon their eternal souls. Take a moment now to note the congregation. Their families, small children, are present.
You can be seated. The scripture is very clear about something that you should know by now. It is appointed to men once to die. There's a lot of things in life that are uncertain. There's certainly a lot of things that are uncertain. We make plans about a lot of things, and they don't work out the way you planned them.
He removes his glasses and begins to talk frankly with those listening. Be mindful of his personality, his emotions, expressions, as he becomes darker and outright creepy. The last thing he said is, in fact, exceptionally true. A lot of things don't work out the way you plan them.
They certainly don't. You anticipate certain things to happen. They don't happen the way you anticipate them. Sometimes experience in the past can prove to be wrong in the future. It doesn't happen the way you thought it was going to happen. But there's one thing you can be certain of this morning. You can be absolutely and completely certain of this, that you're going
You see where this is going yet?
to die. That is the most certain thing that a human being can know. And I want to emphasize that point to you this morning. It is absolutely, completely certain that you're going to die. If the Lord Jesus Christ comes back soon, then we will not go the way of all the earth, as David said, but we will go up with Him. We'll leave this body behind. That's why it's called the blessed hope and the glorious appearing of our great God and Savior, because it's the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ. But if that doesn't happen, you're going to die. I remember years ago when I had a shop down here on Broadway. I was a professional mechanic before I came to the church. And I had a shop called Foreign Cars Unlimited.
I'm going to now point out, he was a car salesman.
That was 37 years ago. I had a lady come in one time. I was doing something, I'd break job something for her. I don't know what it was. But I started talking to her about her soul. I don't know if she expected to get that when she went to the mechanic shop, but I started talking to her about her soul. I don't know how many people I ran off like that, who knows, but I started talking to her about her soul. She talked to me for a little while, and then she said, I don't talk anymore about this. She said, this is too heavy. This is too heavy. I don't want to think about this. And I thought that's quite a revealing thing. She didn't want to think about it. It was too uncomfortable for her. It was uncomfortable to think that there was going to come a day when her life is going to end.
He starts conversing with a woman about her soul, and she eventually tells him she doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Either way, he rapidly jumps back to, she's gonna die.
A lot of people have the idea that the earth, that life is just one big party. 24/7, that's what you're here for. You're here to party. You're here to have a big time. And then when life's over, then you lay down in bed and gather your feet up and pull the covers up over you and say, well, goodbye, world. It's over now. See you later.
Here's an example of a very distorted perception of others. A lot of people think that the world and life is just one big party. I don't think that, and I don't know anyone who does. Again, though, he shoots right back to his morbid fascination.
And that's it, but it doesn't happen that way. Life is not like that. You don't know how you're going to come down to your end. You may get sick and languish for a long time, but you may walk out that back door and drop in that parking lot. You may pull out here on Woodrow Drive and something happens, some mishap. So anything can happen. We don't know. It is uncertain at how it's going to happen. But there's one thing for certain, you're going to die.
He's getting a bit more revved up now, and his inflection and body language become visibly more aggressive and unstable. Then he essentially says that you might be in the parking lot or driving home because nobody knows, you might just die. The listeners can be heard interjecting in agreement. Step 1 of his system is simple. Evoke the fear of one's unavoidable death and threaten with untold punishments beyond.
And the absolute most certain thing on the face of this earth is the fact that you will come to the end of your life, and it is the very thing that very few people make any provision for whatsoever. There's an insanity. There is some kind of a brain disconnect going on.
This is why I specifically denoted inversion. He behaves as if he's sincerely aggravated, driven mad even, with how little self-awareness others have in regard to these things, his expertise. It's insanity. Their brains are disconnected. He's at level 1 of being what you hate or claim to oppose.
There has to be some kind of a mad thing happening in the minds of people when the thing that is absolutely certain, they make no provision for whatsoever. You make provision for retirement, lay up money for years, and invest in the stock market and 401ks and all this, and get ready for your retirement because you look forward to the golden years, as you call them. They're not so golden, really. Sometimes they're not as golden as you think. You discover a lot of pains and aches you didn't know you had. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of you don't reach retirement. You make plans for it. You really do. I mean, you've worked for 30, 40 years for some company and all that, and then the day of your retirement, you drop
You guessed it.
dead. You drop dead. You see, retirement is not absolute. It's not certain. It is not certain that you'll ever retire. It's not. It is not. It is not certain that you'll retire, but it is certain that you'll die. It is absolutely, completely certain that the day is going to come when your life is going to end on this earth. Have you made preparation? Have you made preparation? Have you prepared yourself for that day?
Legitimately getting scary now. He keeps repeating himself on how certain death is, and he is going to try and connect that to God being certain or necessary. Though everyone present is certain of death, none of them know of or have any evidence for God's existence.
For it is coming, and there's not one thing you can do to stop it. That day is coming. Are you ready? You say, well, now, preacher, I just don't want to think about it. Not thinking about it's not going to change anything. Denying it is not going to change.
One could say the same thing about evolution or climate change, yeah? Again, things are inverted.
Change it. Saying it's not going to happen except for some long time off into the future. That's not so. Teenagers die. Young people die. Kids die.
Yeah. To any kids watching, don't get cocky. You die.
People die in their midlife. They die at all ages. Death is no respecter of age. And that's absolutely certain.
His lack of control now extremely apparent. Shouting about death. Everyone dies. Great anger and a hint of madness can be seen and heard from him.
That you're going to die. The Bible said it's appointed to men once to die, and then the judgment. Notice how the Bible concludes or continues on with the fact that even though that life leaves the body, it's not over. It's really just the beginning. It's just the beginning. So the Bible said it's appointed to men once to die. I ask you again. I'm going to ask you a pointed, simple question. Have you made provision? Are you ready? If you're not ready to die, you're not ready to live. You don't know anything about life until you realize where you're headed when the life leaves this body.
Now, the fear of death is powerful, of that there is no question. But it does not compare to the fear of hell, which is the epitome of all that causes fear in our lives and causes us to feel suffering.
Are you ready to die? Now, you didn't create death, and death didn't come upon you because of something you did. Death was here before you ever showed up. Death is the result of man's rebellion against God. When he sinned, he brought death into this world.
It's your fault, though. According to his particular belief system, humans necessitated their own deaths by bringing sin into this world. Regardless of whether or not you are personally guilty of anything, you're guilty. Which means when you die, which you will, in case you forgot, you will experience hell. That is unless...
Death by sin. So death passed upon all men, for all have sinned. Death is the consummation of rebellion and sin against God. It's here. It's a fact. It's something we deal with. And so, my friend, this morning, one more time, I want to ask you a question. Have you made provision for death? Are you ready? I'm not talking about your funeral. I'm not talking about if you bought you a plot and ground out here. I'm not talking about how much money you've got laid up and then you've told people what you want them to say, who's going to sing at your funeral and where they're going to do it and this and that. That's not what I'm...
Are you ready? You know what he's talking about, don't you? Hell.
I'm talking about the moment that your soul and spirit leaves this body and you breathe no more and you have no control over it and you leave planet Earth and you are going to leave this world. Are you ready for that day? If you've ever been up to the door of death and felt its wing, felt its cold, icy chill on your soul, then you're different from most people. Some people on this earth have been there, they've seen it, they understand what it's about, they know how it feels, and it changes them for the rest of their lives. Take note of that. You ought to watch somebody that's been there. You ought to listen to them. You ought to listen to what they've got to say because they have something to say that you need to.
Let me just quickly address things like near-death experiences and such, where, for example, a person dies or is dying and they have an experience where it seems as if they saw hell or heaven, in which case we should value their experience and look at it as if it were absolute truth, like death. Well, people of all faiths and even those without have had these experiences, and many of them have publicized or shared their stories in some way or another. Yet, a Christian sees Jesus or experiences Christian hell, and a Muslim goes to Jannah and meets Muhammad. A Hindu encounters gods described in their holy books, and so on. That's all I'm going to say.
Here, sin and Satan will keep you in this la-la land where you think that you're just going to live forever and you can just live any way you please and life is just one big sinning party, and then when you get ready somewhere way off in the future, then you're just going to leave out of a big party. My friend,
If you were at any point wondering why you'd be so ignorant of God and the real truth, and why you'd be doing things so counterproductive to yourself and your soul, well, that would be Satan. He's inducing you to sin.
and you're going to die. You're going to die. It's appointed a man once to die. Death is coming. Some of you, it's closer than you think. Some of you may be dead before the year's out. Some of you may be dead before the week's out. Some of you may be dead before the sun goes down.
The demon within is asserting itself.
You do not know when it's coming, but I want to warn you again. Death is coming. It is certain. It is sure. It is the most certain thing there is on the face of this earth. The government can't change it. Education can't change it. Money can't change it. Associations can't change it. Your religion can't change it. Nothing can alter the fact that you're going to die. Are you ready? Oh, no, I'm not ready, preacher. We've got step number 1 taken care of. If you will admit that you're not ready. I want to notice the second thing in Luke chapter number 16. Verse number 23 about death. You're going somewhere. Luke chapter number 16, verse number 23. The Bible said in verse number 22, and it came to pass the beggar died and was carried by the angels to Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. Notice the way the Bible says this now. It's clear. It delineates the difference between the death of the body and the existence of the soul. The Bible said in verse number 22, and was buried. There's the body. Verse 23, and in hell he lift up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. Notice how the Bible says it. In hell he lift up his eyes. That's quite a thing. That's a descriptive term. That's the kind of thing that you ought to look at and think and take into your heart. He died. I don't know if he got sick and died. I don't know if he was struck down. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he's killed in an accident, but the Bible said the rich man died. It is inevitable. It's coming. He died. And they buried him. But they didn't bury him. They buried his body. For he's still around in the next verse. Notice how clear the scripture is in it. Even though they buried his body, the scripture says that in hell he lift up his eyes.
Are you fucking scared yet? Well, what if you were an 8-year-old child or a toddler? Would you be scared then?
He lift up his eyes. He took in where he was. It's the idea that after his soul and spirit leaves his body, that he looks where he is. He looks around. He takes it in. And my, what a shock it must have been. My, what horror must have fled his soul. My, can you imagine how he must have felt? He might have been an atheist. He might have been an agnostic. He might have thought he was good.
I think my point has been demonstrated well, but the extent to which it needs to be made clear is greater, and this video is much, much longer. I'm gonna segment the videos on this into 3 parts, a trinity. When all is said and done, it will be understood.